Okay. Welcome everyone to the December 17th, 2024 council meeting. Prior to the open session, council met for a closed meeting. It was moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor McCann, that pursuant to section 239(2) and 3 of the Municipal Act SO 2001 C25 as amended, Council of the Corporation Town of Parry Sound moved to a special meeting closed to the public in order to address matters pertaining to B, personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, appointment to the Downtown Business Association Board of Directors. F, advice that's subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, infrastructure servicing on private property. And K, a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board, infrastructure servicing on private property. That meeting was held. As a reminder, this meeting is live streamed and recorded and available on the internet by visiting the Town of Parry Sound website at www.parrysound.ca. And I would like to acknowledge at this time that we're on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people under the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850 and the waterways traveled by the Métis of this region. Okay. I have a mover and seconder for the agenda, please. Councillor McDonald, Councillor Ashford. Any additions or prioritization of the agenda? Nope. Okay. Then that the minutes from the regular council meeting held December 3rd, 2024 be approved as circulated. All in favor? Oh, wait, that was the minutes. Sorry. I'm jumping ahead. That the agenda for December 17th, 2024 be approved as circulated. All in favor? That's carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest to the general nature thereof? Not seeing any. Okay. Mover and seconder for the minutes. Councillor McCann, Councillor McDonald, that the minutes from the regular council meeting held December 3rd, 2024 be approved as circulated. Any discussion or comments on those minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, questions of staff. Councillor Keith.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was wondering, Mr. Cairns, I understood that April McNamara has been awarded a Tony Bredner Award for the Ontario Recreation Association. I'm wondering, as I understand that award has to do with mentorship and professionalism, has she received that yet, or is that something that will be coming to light, etc., in January with the physical award, etc.? Because I understand she's the third woman since 2000 that has ever received one.
Through your worship. So my understanding is that it was awarded to Miss McNamara virtually. Now the physical award, I'm not sure on the delivery, but I can certainly look into that and make sure that we come back to council.
So thank you. So coming back to council on that, if we receive more information down the road, that may end up on the website, etc., because it seems to me that's a pretty important award.
Absolutely.
I have one for Chief Thompson. Chief Thompson, can you give us an update on how the conversations have been going with Lakeland Power with regard to their servicing or emergency response to situations that we have in the community?
Certainly, to you, Mr. Mayor. I've had some conversations with Lakeland Power. They were delayed slightly due to the situation in Bracebridge and Gravenhurst. As you can imagine, the hydro crews were fairly occupied over in that area. But last week, I did have some very constructive conversations. I guess there's two components to the conversations we had. One was with regards to preventative measures And then the second was with regards to reactive measures and opportunities that could occur in the future. So for sure, these were, I wouldn't call them preliminary discussions, but they were not final discussions by any means as well. With regards to their, what they're trying to do in the community is they talked a lot about their preventative measures in terms of replacing poles. One of the major causes for outages is insulators. This was relatively new information to me. I'm not an electrician. It's not my field of expertise, but they were very forthcoming with a number of the things that they're doing in the community and upgrades that are happening and that have been happening over a number of years. And the purposes of those upgrades is to clearly reduce the number of outages or occurrences that happen in the town that would be related to infrastructure declining over the years. So there might be an opportunity to have someone from Lakeland come to council and talk about that in the future. That might be a productive thing to do. With regards to emergency operations, we had some excellent discussions there with regards to how we could improve their ability and their response times to be able to help us. With the number of upgrades that Lakeland is doing, they do have the ability to remotely do disconnects throughout the community. They haven't so far within their system created the processes to allow for those remote disconnects to happen. The individual I was talking to, the operations manager, felt that there were opportunities to create those processes so that in the future they may be able to remotely do disconnects to be able to ensure the safety of first responders or individuals who are in an emergency that involves energized equipment. The types of issues we were talking about was if a car hits a pole and the pole comes down on top of the car, they see that as that's a life-threatening situation that's occurring. And the fastest they can disconnect that or de-energize that power, they want to be able to do that. So right now it would necessitate sending crews over. They're talking about putting processes in place that would allow them in conjunction with the emergency responders on site to be able to do remote shutoffs. So there's a number of opportunities that we're going to be pursuing with Lakeland. It's fairly critical infrastructure, and we want to be very careful with how we move it forward and what processes we put in place. We want to make sure that the right people are making the right decisions at the right times. So it's a work in progress. I was very happy that they reached out and engaged with myself to have some of these discussions. And I think that there will be more productive discussions coming up.
Good, thank you. Any other questions of staff? No, okay. Next are deputations. Our one deputation is rescheduled. Our first one for tonight is Nadine Hammond, Curator Manager for the West Parry Sound District Museum. Welcome.
Thank you. Mayor McGarvey, Council, thank you for your time and consideration. The museum undertook a number of projects in 2024. A youth train club where our dedicated train volunteers taught 6 youth how to build their own layouts. Installed 4 temporary exhibitions, curling celebrating 125 years in Parry Sound, the legacy of the Wabeno, which explored the life and death of the steamer Wabeno. Reconnecting Me to You, which is a photograph exhibit, which was asking our community for assistance in identifying individuals who were not named. And just opened The People of the Watershed, photographs by John McPhee, This particular exhibition is on loan. It was curated and circulated by the McMichael Art Gallery. Additional programs offered was Yoga on the Deck, a brown bag lunch lecture series, where our assistant collections manager further explored the legacy of the Wabineau, our genealogy club, and we attended this is a tongue twister for me, attended 7 summer markets. So the museum contributes to the community through our mandate to collect, preserve, and share the history of the community. This is accomplished through exhibitions, our genealogy club, and other special programming. Revenue is generated through admission sales, gift shop sales, and facility rentals. However, without the support from local governments, a museum is not sustainable. The board and staff are continuously looking for ways to generate revenue without taking away from our mandate. So this is a really brief overview of our proposed budget for 2025. In addition to the numbers, we are working on some, what we hope the community will be, exciting community projects for 2025. So we received a Trillium grant in order to employ an archivist to organize our research materials and make them available to the general public in the form of a research library that's set to open this spring. Additionally, I have been conducting research for a new exhibition honoring our volunteer firefighters. And I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the assistance of John Tuck, Chief Thompson, and Rebecca Johnson for their assistance with researching this project. So last year, we introduced the idea of a very simple calculation that was 0.04% of property taxes, and that the museum would use to base our municipal requests on. The resulting funds of this calculation will provide the necessary funding in order for the museum to have a basic operational budget. So this budget is not what you see before you. It would cover the employment of 1 staff member, our utilities, telecommunications, basically what the building costs us to operate at a bare minimum. So our request to council for 2025 is 47,000. This is not quite the 0.04%, as we made a promise last year to do incremental requests for funding. I believe the 0.04% request would actually be just above 49,000. Therefore, we are requesting 47 as we slowly bump it up to that 4%. Once again, thank you so much for your time and consideration, and we greatly appreciate your contributions to the West Parry Sound District Museum.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Hammond? Councillor Ashford?
Thank you for the presentation. Yeah, I've been to the museum 4 or 5 times this year, and we're up to Tower Hill all the time. It's just wonderful. I was wondering about some of the assumptions and some of the numbers in the package, and one was like a 6% increase per year. Was kind of like a inflationary or something over the planned budget over the next 4 or 5 years.
Yes.
It just presumed a 6%. I was wondering what the reasoning was for that, because it did seem higher to me than what I would hope would happen, kind of thing, as far as inflation and things go.
We just took the number that we were hearing for inflation. So if you're referring to our business plan, we were just trying to extrapolate what we could look forward in terms of budgetary into the future. So because we were basing it on the budget that we were creating for this year, we were just using a 6% because that's what at the time we created it, it was saying inflation was.
Councillor Keith?
Thank you. Well, the comment regarding the 6%, I think that's been covered, but certainly when we listen to the news tonight, we're hearing inflation at 2%. So, that does cause me a little concern there. But I'm wondering, Ms. Hammond, if you can just kind of clear up for me, when I look at attendance and I compare year-to-date 2024 and 2023, and people through the door, total admission, gift shop revenue, and total rental revenue. Overall, the numbers seem to be down. Why would that be? Is there some common theme there
For year,
on you have
yeah,
a
no,
chart
I'm just
there?
thinking as far, because according to my numbers, it's actually increased. What you're looking at is for the previous years, is the entire year. The year to date is this year, what we received in, I believe at the end of, by the end of October.
Well, that may be, but certainly there does seem to be a marked difference. Maybe if you could explain this one. Total admission revenue year-to-date 2024, admission by donations. So that's really no figure there compared to 2023 at 10,598. So can you kind of clear up?
I wish I had the document right in front of me.
Well, I wish you
Sorry,
did
yeah, no,
too.
I know you submitted to it, because that just, if it was by admission by donation, then that, I do recall us during COVID, we weren't charging admission, it was admission by donation, because we did not feel comfortable charging admission. But I don't believe I included pandemic years in there. Is that the year you're looking at?
I don't think so, because on 5.2B, West Perry Sound District Museum, there's a chart and there's 4 areas. And under attendance, it says total admission revenue, a year-to-date 2024 admission by donation. 2023 was 10,598. 2022 was 6,162. So I just wondered why there wasn't any figure for admission by donations on 5.2B. So really, I kind of feel that you're not able to answer that tonight because you don't have that information in front of you.
Yes, because no, at this point, our admission sales to date are over 10,000.
Perhaps something could be sent to
Yeah,
council
absolutely.
just
Happy to, I'd
clarify
happy
that,
to send
explain
that to you to clarify it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next deputation is Selena Martens, CEO, and Rolla Fraser, Manager and Collections for the Parry Sound Public Library. Welcome. Do we get a video this year too? Okay.
You think we come empty-handed?
I'm just checking. They're always very entertaining.
If we said no, we should just shuffle out now. Well, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to speak to council. We're very happy to be here. My name is Selena Martens. I'm the CEO of the Parry Sound Public Library, and joining me tonight is Rolla Fraser. I'm the Manager of Collections and Community Engagement. So I'm happy to report that 2024 has been a great year for the library. We have seen overall an increase in library statistics. And we did want to present this information in a fun and engaging way. So we do have a new video to show you all. Before we play that, I do just want to say that all of the statistics and things mentioned in the video are also on the paper copy of our 2024 annual report, which is included in your packages. So you can just sit back and enjoy the video, and any numbers and things like that you can always look at in the report whenever you like.
here is the host of the Library Game Show, Alan.
Very much. Welcome to your community's favorite library game show, Library. Contestants, you're competing today for the prize of not being thrown into a secret pool full of sharks.
Wait, pardon?
Your categories are statistics, programming, and community. We give you the answer and you give me the question. The sharks are getting hungry.
No.
Contestant number 2, you start us off.
Thanks, Alan. I'll take library programming for 400.
Library programming for 400. A fun and free weekly program where homeschooling families can visit, make fun crafts, and meet other homeschoolers.
What is homeschool hangout?
That's correct.
Did you know the library hosted 260 programs with 2,622 participants by the third quarter?
I'll take community for 600.
With this initiative, Parry Sound Public Library provides outreach to Lakeland and Belvedere. A librarian visits, providing residents with materials in a range of formats, including large print and audio.
What are PSPL's little libraries?
That's correct.
Alan, I'll take statistics for 600, please.
Statistics for 600. 21,029.
You're just going to give us a number?
Well, the category is statistics.
What is the number of books in the collection?
Sorry, that's incorrect. 21,029 is the number of people who visited the first 3 quarters of 2024.
Alan, I'll take programming for 200, please.
Programming for 200. It's the biggest night of the year. In 2023, the library saw over 500 people turn out for this event. There were cookies, a photo booth, and the opportunity to hear stories from a very special guest.
What is Stories with Santa?
Correct. Every year, Parry Sound Public Library proudly hosts Stories with Santa to tie in with the town of Parry Sound's Light Up the Park. Congratulations, you are now up to 0 points.
Alan, we're not going to do sharks.
I've just been informed our sponsors have changed their minds about the sharks.
Instead, the losing contestant will need to organize the library's DVD collection, and none of them are in the correct cases.
I'll take community for 400.
For this question, we have a video prompt.
I'm here at the Parry Sound Public Library, welcoming visitors here on this very busy Wednesday evening. The space is being well used by several groups playing this game of the imagination.
What is Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes, the library is host to a number of Dungeons & Dragons groups.
Alan, could I have statistics for 200, please?
Statistics for 200. The number this time is 34,564.
What is the annual circulation of library material for 2024?
Correct. Patrons borrowed over 34,000 physical books, DVDs, and other items in the first 3 quarters of 2024. And now it's time for a short message from our sponsor, us.
Did you know your Parry Sound Public Library card gets you access to more than 30,000 physical items, such as books, DVDs, board games, and more? And that's not all. There are also day passes for the Ontario Provincial Parks and family passes for the West Parry Sound District Museum on Tower Hill. And you can use your library card to access Libby. Libby is an e-book app that allows you to access more than 150,000 ebooks and e-audiobooks that you can use right on your phone or tablet. Side effects from visiting your library may include reduced stress, happiness, and increased literacy.
Welcome back to your community's favorite library game show, Library.
Community for 200, please.
Community for 200. This is another video prompt.
Ms. Pulkit. I work for North Bay and District Multicultural Center here in the library, and I help people with their immigration stuff, like the providing assistance in study permit, work permit applications, citizenship or permanent resident applications, and other type of assistance services like finding for employment or accommodation.
What is the Library Settlement Partnership Program?
Correct, for 200 points. The library partners with the North Bay and District Multicultural Center to provide immigrant settlement services. And that's our time. Contestant number 1, you have 1,200 points, so you will not have to sort those DVDs. Until next time, this is Library.
Thank you to the Town of Parry Sound and to our contracting municipalities, the Township of the Archipelago, the Township of Carling, and the Municipality of McDougall for supporting us through a fantastic 2024. We couldn't do it without you.
Thank you. Well done.
Here is
Sorry. Okay, so we do just have a couple more points that we want to go through quickly. I don't want to spend too long on statistics because, as I've said, you do have all of the information in the booklets, but there are a couple I just wanted to highlight. Here is a comparison of the first 3 quarters of 2023 and the first 3 quarters of 2024. And you can see that we've had both an increase in the number of in-person visits to the library as well as physical items circulated. So those are books, DVDs, and other materials. So we've had 34,500 items checked out in the first 3 quarters, which is a lot of material. If you took 34,500 books and sort of lay them on the ground face up, it would stretch for about 7.5 kilometers. So I just think that that's a fun statistic there.
So as you saw my friend Christina talks in the video, there are many other things that are going out of the library that are not just books. So we have all of the things available here. So our parks passes are extremely popular in the summer. We have biosphere activity packs that people can check out. Board games and puzzles are really popular. And then Selena and I had also been talking about just some of the things that we don't really think about until people really need them. So I think we might be the only game in town for sending a fax right now. We are the only public access computers. We are the place where people can come in and print their Amazon shipping labels because they may not have a printer. So those are some of the things that the library is filling some gaps in that it's really challenging to find. And I don't know where you would fax, honestly. This is where I would fax. I would come to us. We also have hundreds and hundreds of DVDs in our collection. So we all missed Ernst when he closed down Video Flicks. We have tried to take up his mantle as best as we're able. So lots of DVDs going out from the library as well. If you don't have streaming or a good internet connection, we're your stop for that. Also, really, really important to us is that people are coming to the library to visit. So we know that people are coming in, stopping in, taking things and heading home. But what we are seeing is we're having a significant upturn in the number of people that are coming to stay with us for periods of time for our programming. So we are expanding our programming. We have plenty of new things going on as well. Our children's programmer has been absolutely knocking it out of the park this year. Feather in her cap, we did get a Reader's Choice Award for our children's programming this year, which is really fabulous. So we're quite happy and proud of that. New things that are happening, we have tech days, we're looking at PD days from schools, and so we're doing movies on PD days. The homeschool hangout is a new feature as well, so we've got homeschooling families that are coming in and being social together during library time, so lots of new things happening. And as well, our community partnerships are very, very important to us. So we have partnerships with all of the places listing here. So the DBA, the festival, Museum on Tower Hill. As well, we also once a month host an interagency meeting. So in the library auditorium, we bring together all of the social services that we have in the community. And then we talk about things that we're offering, things that are important, things that we have going on, maybe some gaps where people aren't necessarily receiving the services. So it's a good informational session once a month where we can really get a good understanding of what the community's needs are and what's happening, and so that we can redirect and send our patrons to the appropriate places where needs arise.
And here we have a slide which lists the points in which partnership with the Parry Sound Public Library aligns with the Town of Parry Sound strategic plan. I'm not going to go through these bullet point by bullet point, since I know that you are all well aware of the strategic plan, but I think it's just a nice visual reminder to see the points in which we line up. And certainly in things like inclusivity and making the community welcoming, community well-being, recreation, those are all things those are all values that are very important to the library and to the town. So we like to just highlight that. And finally, we come to the financial slide. So in your packages, you do have the full detailed 2025 library budget, which breaks everything down line by line. And it also includes the 2024 budget for comparison and the 2024 actuals for the first 3 quarters. And I just want to clear up one potential point of confusion. If you're looking at the 2024 actuals, it looks as though we didn't receive the Parry Sound Public Library operating grant, but that's because that grant typically comes in at the end of the year. So we did receive it. We received it in December, and that's why it's just not reflected in the first 3 quarters actuals. But we did receive that, so that's good. So on this slide, I just want to highlight the 5% increase to our ask. So we are asking for a 5% increase over 2024's budget. This is mainly due to payroll costs. There was a 3% cost of living increase adjustment this year, a 3.25% cost of living adjustment for next year. As well, we are moving staff forward on a salary and wages grid, which was established the last time we did a pay equity review, which is to help us ensure that we are compensating all of our staff appropriately in terms of pay equity. So as we continue to move forwards on that grid, we are seeing a bit of a need for an increase in funding. Now, in previous years, we have also asked the town of Parry Sound to contribute towards our book purchases. However, for 2025, because we are asking for this 5% increase to help us cover salaries, the library board has decided that they would like to take the entire book budget from the library board's own investments. So we are making sure that we're only asking the town of Parry Sound for funding that we would not have access to through other means. So we would be happy to answer any questions you might have about the budget or programming or anything else that we've talked about.
Okay, one of the things I wanted to mention too is you have those quiet rooms there too, right? Where people can come in and work or whatever, that sort of thing, and not be bothered or bother anybody else. And I think that's a good thing for the community to know, you know.
Yeah, they're very well used.
Good.
And we have a lot of tutoring going on in them right now. So we have a lot of ESL students that are meeting with tutors in those private spaces. Certainly in the summer, we're seeing a lot of people that are working remotely, and so they're using that space as well. So they're a very valuable resource for us.
Excellent. Good. Questions? Councillor Keith.
Yes, I have a few. Thank you. In respect to the statistics, I noticed there was roughly 34,000 visitors in the last year. Seeing as you're keeping stats, are you able to break down where those visitors are, like just in general? Because I would appreciate knowing that just to start with question 1.
Sorry. Excuse me, may I ask a clarifying question? Sorry, Councillor, are you referring to like how many are, say, attending programming versus how many are coming in for material, or I'm not sure.
Yes, because it just says 34,000 visitors, so that's kind of vague to me. So if you could kind of break that down, that would be helpful, please.
That's certainly a very interesting point, and that's something that we can look at in terms of keeping statistics in future years. But these statistics would be the number of people who have come through the doors, and then after that, whether they attend a program or they're there to pick up a DVD or they're there to print a fax. We don't have a breakdown of that specific at this point.
Thank you. My next question, I have about 3 of them. So that kind of sounds like to me when you indicated about services such as fax and labels, that maybe the next time around, you're able to break that down, seeing as you're indicating that you provide these services. So I'd be interested in knowing the percentage of increase, whatever, if you're the only game in town, how much is using those services, roughly how much time is being used in that area, because that is a service that sounds to me like there is a need there, because I assume there's not specific stats for that, right?
We would have, we would have paper copies. So for instance, if people are coming in to use public computers, they sign those out. So we have a tally on that. Anybody that is coming to do our programming, we also run tallies on our programming, or we have sign-in sheets so people are kind of thinking of us that way. We've not separated that information in the past. In terms of whether people are sending a fax or something, we have not been counting in that capacity, but for programming, certainly we do. And also with the computers and things, we do.
So I just think to myself, again, for services, extra services you're providing, to have a figure for that. So percentage of time that's being spent there would be helpful. The other thing is that you indicated that once a month there's interagency meetings, and therefore you get ideas and what other services can be provided. I'm wondering as to how that is growing for that program. And I don't recall it being, that information being presented last year. So is this new, or is it perhaps I just missed it?
It's a relatively new program. We did start it perhaps the year before last year, but it was very small, but it's just grown. It's grown a lot in this year. And so that's why we've started presenting that, as it continues to gain momentum and sort of spreads through the community. We've had many more organizations taking part, which has been great to see.
So just two questions, and one would be, again, given that it's grown, roughly how many agencies, interagencies are involved now from its inception till now?
Probably up to about 20 agencies at this point in time, and it's in flux. It's certainly not something that is required attendance. Oftentimes people will go in and out, and we just provide the information that people are able to. And the other thing as well is that I've been fortunate. So when the library is traveling to other community events, I've been able to network and invite people in and bring people in. So, for instance, he was attending before, but now we have the mental health crisis team that attends. Harvest Share and Salvation Army have always been in attendance, but now we're starting to see more from the district social services. And so it just perpetually keeps building. And it's a really wonderful thing.
Last comment, and that would be, it seems to me each time that you folks come and do a deputation, you're very creative. And it seems to me it's almost like you're having too much fun in preparing all of this to do a deputation. So I think I'm a little bit envious of all that fun you're having. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Councilor McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. You guys do a great job. And I think I had mentioned before the archipelago that we'd like to see maybe Mr. Lundy in one of the videos next year, if that's a possibility. Be very interesting. Just a question regarding hours, and I don't know the logistics of staffing and all that. Would there ever be a consideration of opening on a Sunday?
That's certainly something that we could take into consideration. We would have to look at the staffing situation and see if it would be viable. We do like to always have 2 staff at least present, just in case an emergency arises. But that's certainly something that we could take into consideration. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Councilor McCann.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Lundy has been conspicuously silent this evening. Just a couple of comments. It certainly reinvented what today's library is or could be. We've kind of, as I have the privilege of sitting on the board, often heard around the table that it's the little library that could or did and continues to do so. So congratulations on all the work and the success. Did want to ask about what's happening with, and I know I should probably know this, but with the senior outreach, are you still attending Belvedere and Lakeland with the book exchange or the reading program?
So we do still have the programming running. We had to take a hiatus over the summer because the programming at Lakeland and at Belvedere, they got very busy, so they had asked for a break in that. And then unfortunately, there were some COVID outbreaks that happened like earlier in the winter there. So our hope is that we're going to hit the ground running again with that in the new year. Because I think it is a very vital service that we want to maintain, provided it's safe to do so. And certainly, like even within when Lakeland and Belvedere were still in lockdown, I was able to deliver the things. I wasn't able to go in and meet with the residents, but I was able to still bring things right to the front door, and we did exchanges that way. So we're still trying to maintain safety protocols to make sure everybody is healthy, but absolutely still very much important to us.
This COVID outbreaks are as predictable as the weather is, I suppose. One other question, how do you integrate volunteers in the program? Do you have a number of volunteers that get involved? Do students take an opportunity to gain their volunteer hours? Maybe you can speak to that.
Yes, we have some wonderful dedicated volunteers who take the initiative and run some of our programs. We have a split between programs that are run by library staff and programs which are helmed by volunteers. So we have our French club is run by volunteer. We have a local student, Cece, who is running our math club for kids. She is herself a teenager and she's very enthusiastic about math. So she approached us with the idea for this program, and she is running it along with the help of another adult volunteer. So we do have a range of volunteers who run programs and staff who run programs.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you very much, and thank you for the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, next is reports, and we'll start with Councillor McDonald tonight.
Thank you, Worship. I just have one council-related meeting. I attended December 11th DBA meeting. There are new banners coming in the spring for the downtown, so we're looking forward to that. There has been talk of new dock lounge, town dock beautification projects, new garbage and recycling receptacles, and some of the events going to be coming up will be Maple Fest again, Summer in the Sound, Parry Sound Witches Walk, and the Girlfriends Weekend. And then additional events will be the Snowfest, the Cruisers Car Show, Art in the Park, One of a Kind Show, the Canada Day celebrations, the Festival of the Sound, Santa Claus Parade, Tuesday Market, International Women's Day event, Light Up the Park, hockey and curling tournaments, Small Business Week, and Stockey Center and BOCC events and more. So lots happening in our downtown, and it's great to see. And the beautification continues, and they're doing a great job. So I just wanted to say congratulations and keep up the good job to everyone on that committee. And that is the end of my report.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McCann.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and fellow councillors, staff, public. I have no meetings to report this time around, but a couple of things to pass along. Want to pass along condolences to the LeBlanc family. Like very much to take this chance to offer my deepest condolences to Nancy LeBlanc's family. Nancy passed away last week. On the 11th of December, she was 86. Longtime residents of the area will remember that John and Nancy LeBlanc owned and operated LeBlanc's One Stop and Automotive and Tire Store on Bow Street. Their son David kept the business going on Joseph Street years later, and he's just recently retired. Nancy, I had an opportunity to get to know her very well, and she was always very positive, always doing for family and friends. Her glass was always half full, and it was always a pleasure to run into her and be engaged in a conversation. One thing that I recall with Nancy is that back in my radio days, they certainly bought a lot of radio advertising, and Nancy always made sure that we didn't pronounce the C in LeBlanc. It was LeBlanc, not LeBlanc. Certainly to the family, condolences as well. And I would just take this opportunity to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a safe holiday season and a very happy New Year in 25. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councillor Bolesky.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have I had a couple of meetings I attended on behalf of the town with the Belvedere on December the 4th and December the 12th. They were both in camera meetings, so I haven't got really too much to bring forward on it. And that's my report, and I'd like to wish everybody happy New Year and a Merry Christmas.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Ashford.
Well, a snowy couple of weeks for me. We had the Santa Claus parade there, which was quite well attended and was kind of fun. One of the highlights for my extended family, long-term Parry Sounders, is the return of the teddy bears with Santa hats. So I'll leave it there for my fellow councillor to kind of talk about, but they've remembered quite a few things from Councillor Keith's float when they were younger, and there was quite a few of those things present again. Wonderful little opportunity to get out and see the community come together. In addition to that, we had another West Parry Sound Cultural Center meeting talking about the pool and the progress, and there's quite a bit of progress happening. The big thing I was wondering about is how the heck do you do footings and foundations in the snow? I still don't really know, but they're plugging away at it. They got 65% or so of the foundation stuff done, and they're well on track, and steel's getting delivered in January. So that project's going great. And as far as the fundraising goal for capital, the number that's been going around is we're about 20% of the way there. So we're plugging away quite well with all those kind of things. And then finally, there was a great little opportunity in our community. Is one of our preschools had their Christmas presentation, Christmas concert. So it was a great one. I have to say, Council McDonald and myself were in a bit of competition. Both our children were singing next to each other. And I would say my children are the cutest ones in the world, but I have to give it to Councillor McDonald. His child stole the show when the singing went through. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
Councillor Keith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow councillor, staff, and the public. Well, I have to say, meetings, I did not attend the last 2 weeks as I didn't have any, but to make up for it, I've tried to do my best to be a community supporter, shall I say. I did not mention the last time around at our council meeting that I too had attended the Light Up a Park. In the meanwhile, though, within the last 2 weeks, I volunteered to answer the telephones for the Moose FM Salvation Army Radiothon. I also have spent several days selling Shriners cakes. I've continued pretty regular ringing the bells for Salvation Army for their kettle. So that's kept me active, and that way I can eat a little bit more as I jump up and down. I decorated the Lightning, the electric vehicle town truck, the white truck. I was able to decorate that with a number of teddy bears and showing also all sorts of outdoor things like skis and snowshoes and skates, things that we participate in the summer, so that the little kids looking at the vehicle could see that quite well. And of course, the teddy bears could be waving, and because kids seem to like, well, adults too often, teddy bears. So I drove the truck, did the decorating, and of course, stripping off afterwards. It's always more fun decorating than taking things apart afterwards. I also just recently attended the town Christmas party. That was really enjoyable, and to appreciate the staff who do hard work throughout the year. And I think it's important to recognize their dedication for our community. More recently, again today, helped with decorating the church for Christmas. And overall, I just like to say that I want to wish everybody a wonderful Christmas, a joyous New Year. And I think everybody, I hope, will keep in mind that for next year, if we can all try to be, after the season, a little kind and help in our community in one way or another, that would be really great. Thank you.
Thank you. So, council, staff, and public, December 4th, I attended virtually a public health meeting. December 6th, as was mentioned, was the Moose FM Salvation Army Radiothon. Unofficially, I heard that they raised just over $21,000, which I think is great. And certainly thank you to Moose FM for putting that on to support the Salvation Army and this, and everyone that contributed, and all the volunteers that came out that day. December 7th, as was mentioned, was the Santa Claus Parade. I'd like to thank the DBA, our town staff, fire department, and all the other volunteers and participants that put their efforts towards putting this parade together. I've had some really, really excellent comments from the public, and certainly well done. December 9th, I attended virtually a municipal employee pension meeting. December 11th was the Recreation and Culture meeting, as Councillor Ashford mentioned. I want to thank all those that have contributed to the fundraising efforts, greatly appreciated. And things seem to be on track despite the weather with the employees working. They were out there today working away, and yesterday, and I tell you, there seems to be no slowing them down. I also noticed our town staff out clearing snow away today. Certainly thank you to them for getting out there and clearing banks, and they were doing a bang up job on Bow Street there today. So clearing back the snow off that the one side of the street. So well done. And as a little bit of news, we had a letter from Phenom saying that we're going to be the host community for the 2027 Phenom Conference. So that's good. So 2026 will be the Ontario Small Urban Conference. And so that's good for the community. And that's my report. So. Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor McCann, the Council Corporation of the Town of Parry Sound does hereby appoint Josh Morden to the Downtown Business Association Board of Directors and amends Board and Committees appointing Resolution 2022-157 accordingly. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor McCann, second by Councillor McDonald. The council received the report Downtown Quality of Experience Team Preliminary Report for information purposes, and further that staff include cameras and waste receptacles in the 2025 capital budget for consideration, and that maintenance items be addressed with the inclusion of funds in the 2025 operational budget for consideration, and further that staff support the DBA Executive Director having discussions with the DBA membership gain support for storefront camera installations and registering the location of the cameras with the OPP's Cam Safe program. Any discussion? Councillor Keith?
Yes, thank you. I'm certainly supportive of the resolution, but I am curious about one thing. And that was, I looked at the membership of the committee involved. And I'm wondering, Mr. Thompson, I know we recognize we're on Indigenous lands, and I didn't see a Indigenous representation. And I recall when this committee was struck, there was certainly a facility on our main street that was Indigenous oriented. Were they asked, and or is that something in the future, if they want to be involved in that committee, that they are welcome to?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Membership was discussed at the committee level in terms of who else should be included. There was comments surrounding whether there was a need for small business owners who have businesses on the main street to be included, and other discussions of that nature. The committee came to a consensus that for now, at our current state, the committee makeup with the members that are noted in the report was the appropriate group to try to move some initiatives forward. Most definitely, as the committee moves forward, it's not this is not an over and done committee by any means. That can be brought up again, and there can be discussions whether there should be a broader membership.
Anything for Councillor Ashford?
Just had a question about the funds for capital for next year, and kind of just to make sure I understand how it's working. The number I saw was 30,000, and with that money, is that kind of exclusively going to like making sure we have the proper trash receptacles and cameras, or is there other things that we're kind of trying to capture in that, and where are we going with not that we shouldn't be doing it, but just we got to kind of make sure we account and make sure we get the best bang for our buck.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there was a great deal of discussion about initiatives, both minor and major, that could be moved forward to assist with the quality of the experience in the downtown area. Most definitely, off the bat, we were looking for quick wins, things that could be implemented in a relatively immediate manner to start the process of a revolution of the character of the downtown and the quality of the experience. So to answer your question, more major initiatives are going to require a great deal more study, the development of larger partnerships, things of that nature. For this initial group of initiatives, the capital would be isolated towards receptacles, minor things, cameras, things that we believe can have an immediate impact on improving the experience in the downtown area.
Follow.
So just that 30,000 for level of service maintenance that's in the report, is that going to these things, or is that something else?
No, what's in the through you, your worship, what's in the report is specific initiatives towards refuse containers as well as cameras as our initial initiatives to get started and start making some progress.
Okay. Councillor McCann has a question, and then we'll come back to you, Councillor Keith.
Thank you. This is more of a comment. I know that having the privilege to sit on this committee and the discussion around cameras, and I think the cameras have proven to be very, very effective. I know that the library has had some issues, and the cameras have solved that. Our church, St. Peter's, had some similar situations with cameras watching. It greatly reduces things going on in the middle of the night, and unwanted behavior and vandalism and break-ins and that sort of thing. And I remember that we discussed the idea of having cameras downtown, that, and there are particular areas that with video coverage, we know that we can make a difference. And so I was excited that this was one of our initial initiatives. And yes, garbage is always a problem. And if we have the proper containers to manage that, then that was certainly a priority as well. But I want to speak to the cameras and how they've certainly have proven to be very effective over and over again.
Councillor Keith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to clarify, because I realize the importance of how the cameras, no doubt, are very important, but also about these receptacles. It just seems sometimes in the past, when there's more receptacles that need to be emptied, obviously, that impacts the operations department. So has this also been, shall we say, run by operations so they can figure out, yes, how they're going to jig things so that their staff will still be able to work at the same level and be as efficient, even though there's more receptacles? Or are we looking at that figure of maybe also therefore needing another part-time or full-time employee? Has that been examined?
Through your worship, you'll notice in the resolution, the second paragraph, there is also a component of maintenance items to be addressed in the inclusions of funds for the operational budget. That is to address that particular issue in terms of if there's actually more resources in terms of human resources that are going to be required. One of the initiatives that the committee was rallying around was improvements to the area underneath the bridge with regards to vegetation control. And I believe that also managing, if there are extra refuse containers, managing those would fall under the same component. So we are, through this resolution, recommending that there be funds for those maintenance items included in the operational budget as well.
Well, just for clarification, that's not part of the 30,000, right?
Through your worship, the level of service maintenance items, so that would be the human resource component, is the $30,000. Cameras, receptacles, that's the other amount. And if I may, your worship, we are at a preliminary stage in the implementation of this as of yet as well. Mr. Kearns did not sit on the committee with us, and these initiatives or these items came out. We have discussed what they look like in terms of being implemented, but those details are still being ironed out, and the actual physical, how are we going to do it, has to be worked on yet.
Okay, good. Anything else? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Boleski and seconded by Councillor Ashford, whereas Council previously approved the transfer of $61,684 received from Belvedere to a long-term care reserve for the purpose of assisting in offsetting any future levy increases with resolution 2021-059. And whereas Council has received a request from Belvedere Heights to return those funds to go towards the architect and engineering costs for a 22 new private room addition. Therefore, Council approves the return of $61,684 to Belvedere Heights to be funded from the town's long-term care reserve fund. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ashford, seconded by Councillor Keith. Council of the Corporation of the Town of Parry Sound hereby supports the attached resolution from the City of Guelph regarding the ability of municipalities to charge gas utilities for the use of municipal property including the following specific actions. One, that the province of Ontario amend section 9 of regulation 584/06 under the Municipal Act 2001 to permit municipalities to charge fair fees for not-for-profit gas utilities for their use of public property as municipalities do in most other provinces. Two, the council supports in principle Bill 219, No Free Ride for Fossil Fuel Act 2024, tabled November 4th, 2024 by MPP Mike Schreiner, and that this resolution be forwarded to Premier Doug Ford, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing Paul Calandra, Minister of Energy and Electrification Stephen Lecce, Parry Sound Muskoka MPP Graydon Smith, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Guelph MPP Mike Schreiner, and the City of Guelph. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Ashford, that bylaw number 2024-7462 being a bylaw to rename Parry Sound Drive section from Hall's Quarry Road to Joseph Street as Connor Drive be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Ashford that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? I'd like to begin by thanking Mr. Connor for his contribution towards the renaming of the street, which is going to the Recreation Center. Did I mention anything about the letter we received? Yeah. We received a letter from the Minister of Transport saying that they will be covering all the costs for the signage, anything on 400. So that is some good news. Yeah. Councillor McCann.
I guess we'll need to update our what is it, GPS systems? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you can tell I have one.
There'll be a few upgrades that'll have to be done, but there's no address changes that have to be made, which is a bonus. So, any other questions, comments? No? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor McCann, that bylaw number 2024-7461 being a bylaw to deem certain lots in the town of Parry Sound not to be part of a registered plan of subdivision, Belvedere, 21 Belvedere Avenue, considered as read a first time. All in favor? And that's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? That's carried. Moved by Councillor McCann, seconded by Councillor McDonald, that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor McCann, seconded by Councillor McDonald, that bylaw number 2024-7463 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council be considered as read a first time. All in favor? And that's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? Carried. Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor McCann, that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. All in favor? And that is carried.
Mr. Mayor, I also wanted to add that possibly this is the shortest meeting we've had in a long time.
Great. The last one was pretty good, but this is even better. That's right. But Councillor Bornham is not here, so that's, you know. Council, just so everyone knows, Councillor Borneman is visiting family, I believe, on the East Coast, so. All right, so all are invited to the mayor's annual New Year's levy scheduled for Sunday, January the 5th, 2025, from 12 noon to 2 p.m. at the Stocky Center. Light lunch will be served with music accompaniment. Highlights of 2024 will be given and accumulating in the award of the 2024 Order of Parry Sound. So I look forward to seeing everyone there that can be, and it'd be appreciated for all those that can come out. And prior to adjourning, I'd like to offer the following information to the public regarding the next council meeting. The next meeting of council for the town of Parry Sound scheduled for January the 21st, 2025 at 7 p.m. The meeting will be held at the Town of Parry Sound Council Chambers at 52 Siegmund Street, entrance 5 Gibson Street, be live streamed and recorded. All regular council meetings are held at 7 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of each month, except January and August, where only one regular meeting is scheduled. Council meeting schedule, notices of special council meetings, complete agendas and minutes, and instructions on accessing the live streamed and recorded council meetings are all posted on the town's website. Go to www.parrysound.ca and use the search bar. Your TV airs council meetings on Saturday at 9:30 a.m. following the regular council meeting. For Cogeco listings, contact www.yourtv.tv. And on behalf of council and my staff, happy holidays and happy new year to everyone. However you support the holidays or have a good time at this time of year. And as my final closing, Merry Christmas to all. A good night.